Meet Gregor Robertson, who was just handpicked by Mark Carney to run for the Liberals in Vancouver, Fraserview, South Burnaby. As mayor of Vancouver, Robertson supported the decriminalization of drugs and oversaw a 600% rise in overdoses in his city. He then called to outsource this disaster to the entire province, claiming it would be life-saving. When the province gave in to Robertson's demands, nearly 5,000 people died of overdoses across BC over the next 2 years. But helping more people die of drug overdoses isn't Robertson's only accomplishment. When he entered office, the average home price in Vancouver was a little over $800,000. By the time he left, it was over $2.3 million. When he entered office, the average apartment in Vancouver rented for less than $1,000 a month. By the time he left, it was approaching $1,400. And under his watch, Vancouver turned into a global hub for organized crime and money laundering. With this record of failure, it's no wonder that Mark Carney wants to give him a promotion to the federal level.
For more on this and the content of the budget, Gregor Robertson is here. He's the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure. Minister, a pleasure to welcome you. Thanks for making the time.
Good to be with you.
It sounds like from what we heard from Mr. Davies, your government is safe another night this evening, but I do want to ask more broadly. The budget itself will face a confidence vote. Have you secured enough votes to pass your budget?
Well, that result will be known when the vote happens. We're obviously very confident in our team, and the Canadians want to see a government that's investing in Canada. We want to come through this budget strong and be able to roll out all of this investment, particularly for me in housing and infrastructure. It's an unprecedented level of investment. We are very hopeful that we'll see support from other members in the other parties. They've got to make that decision for themselves, but certainly we're going to bring that forward confidently, and we know Canadians support that.
I have a number of questions on what this budget does and doesn't do for housing in a moment. But I wanted to ask you, because I have spoken to leaders or members of all the different parties, and in particular where the NDP and Bloc are concerned, both have expressed the sentiment from their perspective that your government did very little to consult or include their ideas in this budget. Why is it that your government acted more like a majority introducing this budget than a minority, which it actually is?
If you look at the budget the way that it's put together right now, and I'll speak from my perspective as Housing and Infrastructure Ministry, we have investments that are huge scale in ridings right across the country, in communities, cities, towns across Canada. Doesn't matter if it's a red seat or a blue seat or an orange seat or a green seat, we are investing in all of Canada. This is a critical time for our country, and we're recognizing that we have to invest in all of Canada, lifting all of Canada, creating the jobs, creating the housing, the affordable housing that we need, and going full tilt on major projects that create jobs across Canada in every part of the country right now. So I think when we look at what other members in Parliament want to see, they want to see investment in their communities, and that's what we're doing with this budget.
But why, with great respect, Minister, are you speaking for them? Like, they felt there was a lack of consultation on this budget. Was your party just assuming enough people would cross the floor that you didn't need to consult with opposition?
Well, we're in a situation now where we're going to debate the budget. So they have the opportunity to move amendments. There was an enormous amount of engagement with Canadians through the summer and fall that was done to hear from Canadians. What do they want to see in the budget? We obviously put forward a platform last spring and were elected. 169 of us were elected with a mandate to deliver at a critical time for Canada right now, to invest in affordable housing, to make sure we're working in partnership with Indigenous people across Canada, to make sure that we're focused on our strengths in Canada when the world is in a very unsettled place right now and our relationship with the U.S. is tough. We are delivering a budget that responds to what people told us during the election, what people told us all summer and all fall. And members of Parliament have an opportunity to debate that and move amendments now as we go into the budget votes.
I'm glad, Minister, that you brought up the platform, because it's against your party's platform that the backdrop of that platform that I want to ask you about your file and what is and what isn't in this budget. Your government billed this budget as transformative. The finance minister called it 25 times in his budget speech generational. But on your file specifically, it appears to be anything but. Two examples, the centerpiece of your housing policy, and I lean on analysis here from Mike Moffat. The new agency that you created gets only about half the money allocated that you promised it would during the campaign. A second example, you've watered down incentivizing the reduction of development fees. In the platform in the campaign, you said there would be a requirement that development charges be halved, and the budget simply says substantially reduced. What is transformative, Minister, about any of that?
Well, first of all, transformative in terms of scale. I mean, right now, in this budget, there's $13 billion that's dedicated to affordable housing, which is unprecedented in a single budget. And obviously, there are future budgets that can follow up on that work. Build Canada Homes is the biggest single investment in non-market housing, affordable housing for Canadians that we've ever seen. And we are rolling that work out with purpose right now. With development charges, that's basically, as a former mayor, you invest those development charges into infrastructure in the cities and towns to build housing, to make sure you've got the water and the wastewater and the roads and public transit. $51 billion is dedicated here in this budget alone into that infrastructure, which is remarkable. It's a lot to move forward with and invest. I'm very confident in our ability to do that. Those are huge investments. Actually, the infrastructure investment goes far beyond what the development charge commitment in the platform looked at. So we're respecting that local communities need to invest in that infrastructure to build the housing and make our communities better with community centers and schools and hospitals. We're taking that step with this budget, and we expect other members of Parliament to support that if they want to see investment in Canada at this scale.
Minister, with respect, I do have to push back on the idea that those development charges are warranted. The issue with the previous government, which was also a Liberal government, was that they put out this pot of money for either infrastructure or housing to municipalities and loosely said this will incentivize a decrease in development fees. If development fees stay where they are, then that disincentivizes an increase in supply. That has been advocated to your government loud and clear. Why did you water down the language? And why tonight are you saying, hey, those development fees are all for a good cause?
No, what we're saying and what we're doing is we are investing in the infrastructure in a partnership. And we require the provinces, the territories, the cities to reduce their development charges to get that funding. So basically, it's reducing or eliminating the development charges in many cases and getting the investment directly into the infrastructure, which is what they would use that for. So we're seeing a much greater amount invested in housing and community infrastructure than there was in development charges. So we're going beyond what was committed in the platform in this budget, and we're making sure that it's driving directly at infrastructure, that the community centers, the water, the public transit that our communities need, and the jobs that it creates to create that infrastructure.
Are you saying that it's because of the potential use of those in infrastructure that you watered down the language from where it was in the platform? Because I, again, have to point out to you, Minister, and our audience, that your platform specified the development charges would be halved. The incentive would be to have them. The language in the budget simply just says substantially reduced. That is a germane difference.
Well, we don't know exactly how much it'll be reduced in each jurisdiction. So if they want the infrastructure investment
up to you?
That we're putting on the table, if we put the infrastructure investment forward, they have to reduce their development charges. So the uptake is going to be up to those communities. If they want infrastructure investment, it's there for them. They got to reduce their development costs and bring down the cost of building the housing. So we're making the investment. We're making actually more dollars available than that 50% reduction would suggest.
But what's the expectation? To be clear tonight, for municipalities and their leaders watching this evening, what is the expectation in order to receive that giant pot of money that you explained for infrastructure? What is the expectation that they lower their development fees? Like, by how much?
By the dollars that are invested in the infrastructure. It's basically development cost charges goes to housing infrastructure, community infrastructure. That's where almost every city and town is investing it. That's why they raise those funds. We're investing those funds in partnership. We want to see those development costs go down as a result of that. So we'll be tracking that. They have to be accountable for reducing those housing costs to get the infrastructure dollars. And there's a lot of, it's $51 billion that are available overall in the infrastructure investment, which is massive, and it's going to make a huge difference in many communities. It'll actually accelerate the amount of investment, the community centers, the public transit, the housing that can be enabled with that infrastructure. We're going to see that accelerate because of a greater investment than anticipated.
I just want to circle back before I let you go, Minister, to the initial point around the agency, because that was kind of the marquee piece of your announcement a number of weeks ago, and I think what remained in the budget, because there isn't anything additional. Once again, I do want to put to you that what you committed to in the platform is $11.2 billion. What is in the budget is a 40% reduction from that at $6.8 billion. I know you characterize it as this, again, generational investment, even in this interview. Why is it so substantially reduced? Do you intend to use it less than you were promising Canadians you would?
No, not at all. There's a $13 billion investment in Build Canada Homes in this budget. And that is to focus on homelessness and supportive transitional housing to help people off the streets and out of shelters. There's $1 billion for that. There's $1.5 billion that's dedicated to rental protection and making sure we're protecting affordable rental buildings. And there's north of $10 billion that is going to be invested in affordable housing, co-ops, lower rent and missing middle housing for workforce, for young people, student housing. We want to see a massive scale of investment, and this is in this budget. We're going to see in future budgets, we'll continue the pace in terms of investing in affordable housing. We're setting up the one-stop shop with Build Canada Homes, and we're going to invest in affordable housing at an unprecedented scale.
Just to be clear, am I completely reading something wrong? Because when I look at the line in the budget for Build Canada Homes, it is $6.8 billion on an accrual basis versus $11.2 that you promised in the platform. Are you putting together other things to come up with that number? Because it's not evident in the budget.
Well, it depends if you're looking at it as an accrual basis or a cash basis. So it's different how it's reflected in the budget. The overall commitment in this coming year is $13 billion for affordable housing. So that's what Build Canada Homes is working from. And we're looking at partnerships with the private sector, with provinces, territories, cities and towns, Indigenous nations. We want to see that leveraged so we get a multiple of that invested into housing.
Okay, I'm going to leave it on that note. Appreciate your time as always, Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Val.
Oh, yeah. All right, gang, we'll wrap it up right there. What do you think about our housing minister, Gregor Robertson? That clown is 61 years old. Can you believe that? What kind of snake oil is he drinking? He must have been in business with Mark Carney another time. It's a weird thing that he went from being a mayor that almost destroyed Vancouver all by himself into this position as housing minister. There's some level of corruption definitely going on here. My name's Aaron. This is Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe, get notified. I appreciate anybody that will subscribe. We're learning about Canadian federal politics here. I show you the interesting pieces that I see from legacy media, from the House of Commons, from the committee meetings, from the scrums, all that stuff. The real frontline politics. That's it. Thank you very much for watching this video. We'll catch you in the next one. My goodness, Gregor Robertson. What are you drinking? What is in that Kool-Aid? Ciao for now. We'll catch you in the next video. Like, share, subscribe. Get your Canadian federal politics right here.